Hello everyone, my students relating to management of financial services. Today I'll be covering the topic of plastic money. So let's begin without wasting any time. Plastic money, obviously we all are nowadays very much familiar with such term. That's the cards which every student sitting over the other side of the laptop must be carrying with himself or herself. Or your parents must be carrying the same to make any kind of payment. It's basically hard plastic cards that we used every day in place of actual banknotes. Now, hardly it's an era of UPI payments. So, if I talk about plastic money, you all must be carrying a card with yourself that is known as a plastic money. That can come in many different forms, such as we earlier used to have cash cards, also credit card, most common parameter nowadays to finance the segment of people in our economy. Debit cards we have to limit our spending, we have a term known as debit card, and to unlimit our spending, we have a term known as credit card. Prepaid cash cards, these are usually meant for making payments or giving gifts to the people so that to honor them. That because nowadays gifts are not only goods which we usually give to the other people. Everyone in the economy now prefer to gift something which is useful to the other person. So prepaid cash cards are very much valuable for that. And then we have store cards also. So to starting first with a cash card is a card that will allow you to withdraw money directly from your bank. That is your ATMs, that is automated teller machines through which you can withdraw your cash via an ATM, that is authorized teller machine. But it will not allow the holder to purchase anything directly with it. That is, you can only withdraw your cash, but you cannot make the purchase through the cash cards. Then next come the terms credit card. It's a plastic card bearing an account number assigned to the cardholder with a credit limit. Mind it, credit cards do have the credit limits that depends upon the limit you are having in your saving accounts. That you use to normally these cards are used to purchase goods and services and to obtain cash disbursement on credit. Debit cards, whereas are the substitute for cash. Uh, as per the perception of the people, those who are not spendthrift kind of people, they prefer to have debit cards as a substitute for cash or check payments. Much is the same way like the credit card. The only limitation I have been telling from the start, that is credit card don't limit your expenditure. Usually you spend more than what you have in your account, whereas debit cards limit my expenditure. That is, I can spend only up to the amount of limit I'm having in my account. Next, we have the charge cards. These are means of obtaining very short-term loan for a purchase. Mind it, it's a kind of a short-term loan. It's similar to the credit card, except that the contract with the card issuer requires that the card holder must pay each month charges made to in full. There is no minimum payment other than the full balance. Since there is no loan, there is no official interest. A partial payment results in severe late fee and the possible restriction of future transaction and risk of potential cancellation of card. So kind of a little more bind with the rules and regulations and restrictions behind this kind of cards. Then we have the MX card. We all are aware about such words, that is MX MasterCard. International Visa and MasterCards are commonly used by the travelers to bear their expenses on their trips. Believe it or not, most of the traveler finance their trip with the business cards. One of the major reasons for which these practice has become common among the travelers is the currency. No one who want to hold the currency nowadays, because it becomes very difficult for the travelers to go to currency exchanges bureaus and get them exchange their currencies at the very low rates. Therefore, when American Express was founded in 1850, its growth was rapid because of the demand for the international traveler cards for American Express cards. Next is MasterCard Worldwide. That is a multinational corporation based in purchase, that is New York, US. Throughout the world, its a principal business is to process payments between the banks, merchants, and the banks of purchases that use its MasterCard brand, debit card, credit card to make the purchases. MasterCard Worldwide had been publicly traded since 2006. Prior to its initial public offering, MasterCards Worldwide was a membership organization owned by 25,000 financial institutions that issue its cards. It's a late information now. MasterCard, a smart card, that is plastic card embedded with a computer chip that stores and transacts the data between the users. This data is associated with either of the value of information or both, and is stored and processed within the card chip, either a memory or a microprocessor. The card is transacted via a reader that is a part of the computing system. Next comes pros and cons. Technology has changed the way we deal with the money by giving us more convenience and easy to access to funds from anywhere. It all started with a simple credit card that allowed you to make purchase today and pay later. So these cards help us to one very good word, that is purchase today and make the payments later. Further technological advancement led to a new trend where most banks gave you one ATM card and other debit card. When the trend of debit card began, we used to have two cards. One was ATM and other was debit card, because debit card was having a charge on it and ATMs were usually free of cost. So those who cannot afford the charge, they used to buy ATM only. But the issue was functions of ATM were limited, whereas functions of debit card were much more. You can have a kind of short-term finance through the debit card also. And both were used for withdrawing the money as well as for making purchases and making payments online and offline. However, plastic money has its share of issues that one must be careful about. So let's discuss about certain pros and cons of plastic money in this case. Advantages is it eliminates the need for carrying the huge cash. You need not to carry cash once you're carrying a card in your pocket. Risk of loss or theft minimized. Carrying huge cash, like coming into the eyes of the people who are not who are watching you to carrying their cash. So that's a best medium to carry the cash along with you, where you are secure about the money also. You can get your funds as and when you need, and uh, risk of loss and theft is minimized in it. Anywhere and anytime access, since you're carrying a card, it's a unique advantages. You can travel abroad, you can go anywhere, you can use your card. So the card is more than sufficient thing you're carrying in order to finance yourself. Credit facilities, debit card provides us, and credit card provides us a facility to buy today and pay later, as I discussed. Online payments, much useful concept nowadays. Cards help us to make online payments. Our accounts are directly linked with the cards to make online payments. Even through your UPI transactions or any transactions, you need to link your card also. So your cards are a useful linking pin for making the online payments. So every coin has two aspects. So obviously, plastic money being having a positive, certain negative aspects are also there. So earlier, it used to be a very big issue because non-acceptance at the small retail outlets, that machine charges something. So people were not that much like optimistic to use the same, I must say. Cannot be used at for all daily needs, like you cannot pay milkman, service. You cannot swipe all the time, na? Paper wala, newspaper guy, you cannot make payments all the time through your cards. It's not so user friendly and not convenient to swipe the card at such places, which these are those people who usually prefer to have things in cash, because transaction and cash can be more helpful to them. Instead of you, they can't keep the cards like you. I told you the ATMs do not carry a charge, but debit cards do carry a charge. Loss and misuse. Once a card is lost, you have to immediately report it and get blocked to avoid misuse. Otherwise, people get it swiped in a seconds. Sometimes you're not aware that your card is lost, and the chances of misuse is very much higher. And card organizations itself are having a number of cases whereby cash is like card is being misused before the complaint was being launched. Mr. ABC, who is on vacation, returned home after 10 days. He was not aware of his card, which he lost during the trip. One fine day, when he checked his bank account, he found that 75,000 worth of purchases have been made on his credit card. It was too late. But this case is no doubt quite little old, but still, such examples are in bulk with the credit card organizations. Now, no doubt today we have lots of checks and balances that are put in place, but you people are having lots of other channels to withdraw your cash. Low value transactions. So already discussed about, there are cases where small and medium sized retailers don't accept cards of low value transactions like 200, 3. Now you have UPS for the same. Service charge. Some people, outlets charge additional charges. Yes, people do complain that cards are having extra charges. So they shift the burden on the consumer. Damage to cards. Sometimes magnetic chips on the card do get damaged or scratched, and you cannot use them if your card is not having a proper chip maintained. Carrying or keeping the card in the wallet together is like inviting in trouble. This is the way everyone, including me, like used to carry cash and cards. But this means once you lose your wallet, you lose everything. Spending habits are no doubt increased if you're carrying a card, because when you're paying through cash, you always think twice before spending it. But when you're swiping it through a card, I think so that kind of calculation which your mind used to have while giving the cash, that those are limited in case while we are making payment through cards. Impulsive purchases are being done. Sometimes that is we buy those things which we actually don't want. So certain things which you can postpone, which you can live without it, but still you spend. Peer pressure, it's okay to spend some money on entertainment, outing, finding, dining. This has increased a lot. People were not this much spendthrift earlier, but peer pressure has increased such kind of expenditure. Overuse of cards, I find people that who are finding cards as a convenient medium to use it everywhere, left, right, center. Further, they have 3, 4 cards. That is basically a status quo nowadays. So people like to show off. We are having a 3, 4, 5 different cards. So obviously, more the cards, more will be the transactions. No doubt they provide you special offers and discounts, but this is fancy. These fancy things make in lieu of such kind of discounts, people are buying like anything. They are doing having an extravagant expenditure. Debt trap, that's the biggest point, that all cards leads you to the debt trap. That is overuse of credit cards and rolling over your balance is the shortest route to bankruptcy. Remember that you have to pay your credit card in full. If you know that this means that in a letter and spirit, will be careful while spending on a credit card. Interest rate on credit card rollover as 3 to 4% every month, which relate to 36 to 48% of risk. So this is all about credit card and debit card. That's a point of plastic money. Because once you are clear about concepts of plastic money, the further topic that would be uploaded would be regarding the credit card process used by the credit card organizations. Thank you and wish you good luck, and God bless you all who are watching this video, and do subscribe and like the channel. Thank you.